Okay, so welcome to our 300-hour trauma-informed movement facilitator training meet and greet with our lovely guest facilitators and some participants and hopefully future participants. So we're really happy to have you here. My name is Kirsten, or you can call me Kay. And this is our second session. So if you missed the first session and you want to watch that recording, it is also in the YouTube channel and will be in various places. We had some other facilitators on and we have new facilitators here today. So you can kind of catch up on that if you'd like to. But let's get to the task at hand. So I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I have been buzzing all day after our first session, so I'm really, really excited to get into this one and reconnect with facilitators that we had this morning and introduce Sasha tonight, which, yay, you're in for a treat. So thank you all so much for being here. As Kay said, I'm Amanda of the Self-Agency Academy, and maybe I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I forget, like I did this morning. So I am a holistic nutritionist. I'm a trauma-informed yoga and movement facilitator. I have so many other things in my toolkit, but I won't bore you with the details. Essentially, what I bring to the table is speaking to nervous system support and hormonal balancing in regards to how it is that we integrate mind, body, and spirit, what we use as all of these tools and modalities to help people reclaim their inner innate resilience and their own wisdom. I'm a firm believer that we are all our own greatest teachers and our own healers. We simply have people that walk alongside us in these journeys. So that's part of what I do. I like to walk alongside people as they're moving through this world and navigating what they're navigating and seeing what I can bring into those spaces with and for them as they take this life on in their own time and way. So, Kay, if you want to say a little bit about yourself, and then we can dive into the facilitators.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. I got wrapped up in listening to you talk, and that sometimes happens with the way that we work, and it's so wonderful. But yes, my name is Kirsten. Some people call me Kay, and I have a nonprofit that's called Legacy Motion. I come to this work from a performance dance background, and through life, which can be a four-letter word, as my dad says sometimes, I've found my way into trauma work. And Amanda and I met at a training called TCTSY, which is Trauma-Centered, Trauma-Sensitive Yoga. And we both are licensed facilitators within that particular modality, but we both have very, very different backgrounds, which I think is wonderful for this particular training. And you'll find that all the guest facilitators have very unique backgrounds as well. And that's one of the reasons that we brought them in. But the other reason that we brought them in is because we trust them and we really admire their work, and we really want to uplift their voices in the work that they do and offer as many voices in this particular training as possible for everybody that participates. Plus, I love learning from them. But my nonprofit brings restorative movement-based practices to survivors of trauma, but I used to be a professional ballerina, so it's not too far of a bridge. Originally, my nonprofit was a cultural heritage nonprofit, and I noticed that when I was going into spaces and places where cultural heritage was starting to become endangered or extinct, there was so much joy that the people brought into the space where they were performing for us and showing us their dances in order for us to document them. And then when those dances and festivals would be over, there would be this real loss that would occur. And there was a lot of complex trauma that I was witnessing. And I thought, there's got to be something more that I can do. So my nonprofit expanded its mission, and we started to really dive into how does movement assist with trauma. And over the course of the last few years, I have taken thousands of hours of professional trainings, and I've been working alongside some amazing professionals and have really found a space within this particular field. And I feel very honored and grateful to be here with everyone. And so the work I do is always collaborative, hence all these wonderful faces you see amongst you. And we collaborate with psychologists and mental health care workers and body workers and yoga professionals and dance professionals in order to bring this work to the world. And that's a little bit about me and the background and what I do. So why don't we go ahead and start? I'll pass I used this term yesterday and I was thinking about it. I'm like, that's kind of strange, but I'll use it again. I'll pass the proverbial Zoom stick over to someone else. And yesterday I kind of designated because we had some time constraints, but I will go ahead and let whoever would like to go first or kind of dovetail onto my introduction. So please feel free to speak up, those of you who are facilitators here with us today. Or I can pick. And if I pick, I'm going to pick who's next to me, which
I
is
will
good.
go.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thanks, Sarsha.
I will go. Firstly, I want to apologize for my lighting. My internet's not great in this house, and I had all the lighting set up, and then I'm like, I'm not connecting into the meeting, so I'm a little bit in the dark. So obviously, I'm Sasha, and I feel really honored that you have both asked me to be here. I know Amanda, I've known Amanda for a number of years now. We met in a beautiful mountain village in New Zealand, Aotearoa, a while ago. And it's interesting how our paths have kind of like walked beside one another in our interests. So I'm a yoga teacher. I really sit with actually even using those words these days. I'm a yoga teacher, I'm an embodiment teacher, and that's really my passion. I also come from a dance background, so I've danced since I was 5, danced my whole life, done a lot of study in somatics and movement and what is this body, this innate wisdom that is within us all. You know, what is the wisdom and how do we learn to tap into that so that it guides us through life? Have I frozen a little bit? Yeah, I'm going to be probably dropping another. From an Iyengar yoga background, I taught Iyengar yoga for, I'm back on. Yeah, I come from an Iyengar yoga background. I taught Iyengar yoga for a number of years, interestingly enough. So it was a very I tell you what to do methodology of teaching. And after a number of years with that and having same students for years that would come to me super regularly, I was kind of like, there's a missing piece here. And that is when I really started to dive into the embodiment piece of what is it like? We're so conditioned from such a young age to give our power away. And what is it like for people to find their own agency and their own empowerment and this incredible wisdom that is within our body? I've also seen over the years in the spiritual traditions that I've studied a lot in for a long time, this real strong focus on up and out and connecting up and out. And something that I love to bring is the wisdom of down and in. And actually, this is divinity right here. And there's so much wisdom in here. I teach a lot of free movement. I teach a lot of ecstatic dance. I teach a lot of trainings in those things. And this ability to really listen into your body and really allow it to move in whatever way feels right for you, and encouraging people to do that, which can be confronting when people are so used to being told what to do. When I first started teaching in this way, they were like, just tell me what to do. And to go, I'm not going to tell you what to do. And your body knows, and to be able to hold space for them to really tune into these different parts, into their, how does your heart want to move? How do your lungs, your kidneys, like all of the different fluids that you can embody in your body, how do they really want to move? How do they want to breathe? And what is the wisdom in there? So yeah, that's a little bit about me. That's my background. That's where I come to now, and I run my own teacher trainings as well. And I feel super honored to be with you both. I really respect and honor you, and respect and honor what you're holding. I think trauma is so important to look at this. I do a lot of women's work as well, and as we know, there's so much trauma in our bodies, and how are we able to skillfully work with that so that people feel they can take back that agency, there's invitation, as opposed to just more projection and pushing into some idealistic model. Yeah, so that's me. I'm also a mother of 3 children, so yeah, I just wanted to add that in, and I'm open to chatting with anybody, any questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much. When I first met Sasha, it was just one of those magical moments where I was like, this being, what? Yes, more, please. So it's such an honor to have you here. And I just so greatly appreciate the authenticity, the truthfulness, the power that you bring. So thank you so, so much for being here. Who's next, I wonder?
Well, I'm happy to go next. I don't know who else is, if there are any more facilitators, and I know obviously Thiago. So yeah, Amanda, Kirsten, thank you so much. So nice to see you again. I wasn't buzzing all day because I slept, being in a different time zone. You can tell who's where, like Kirsten and I have both wet hair because we just came out of the shower. Thank you so much for facilitating this. I actually came through dance in a way as well. Not that I was a professional dancer, but that was kind of my thing since I was a young child. But through dance, someone discovered that I was a little bit wonky in my back. And then my mum, being like an accompanying parent at this event, was like, maybe I need to take my child to see somebody and she might need some insoles or something. Only turned out that I had quite severe scoliosis. I was 13 at the time. I gave up dancing for a little bit to overcome that shock. Came back to it later. And so for me, it was basically suddenly became like, okay, I need to do something always to support my back, manage the scoliosis so that I wouldn't end up in a wheelchair at the age of 40, which I'm sure that's not the words that the consultant used, but that's the image that he left me with. So not very tactful or mindful or kind at all. So I carried on dancing. I did a lot of Pilates in my 20s, and I was actually fine. And we corrected the scoliosis by half, and I was doing just fine. I started my yoga teacher training. Well, I didn't actually like yoga, to be honest, in the beginning. I was like, spending like hours upside down, not so sure about this. Leave me alone. I'm not up for this. Somebody dragged me along to some class at work, and I just liked the girl, and she was quite down to earth, and it was a bit of a physical challenge. I was like, because even though I danced all my life, I was really challenged by this yoga class. I'm like, what's this about? And I kind of stuck to it, and I realized, this is kind of nice. And very interestingly, I stopped dancing, not as a conscious decision, like I didn't weigh up the pros and cons or anything. I just naturally stopped dancing, literally from one day to the next, as I found my way into yoga. And instantly, or after the initial kind of, found how helpful it was for my body and managing my back. And so then went super quick from there, starting my yoga teacher training. But I also was starting to develop quite a bit of pain down my right side. And it was very interesting how that instantly triggered this whole, I'd forgotten about this kind of image of me ending up in a wheelchair at the age of 40, but it kind of just, like, what? I'm only like beginning with my 30s. This is way too soon. This is not meant to start. What's going on? I'm meant to be healthy. And there was a big story already, like developing and spiraling out of control. And I went to see a chronic osteopath every single week for 3 months, which was getting quite depressing. And I changed my yoga practice. I was just lucky enough that I already had some insight to a different way of working in yoga and a different kind of practice. I was very lucky to find a Scaravelli-inspired teacher around the corner from my house in London, which in London is unheard of to find anything around the corner of your house. that was so lucky. And I stopped going to the osteopath from one week to the next. And yes, in fairness, I then started working every week with this teacher. But that was different because I wasn't in pain anymore straight away. Yes, it was coming and going, but it wasn't as bad and as constant. But she empowered me to be back in charge of my own body. I found the tools to create those conditions that the osteopath was doing with his hands. And he was a good osteopath because he actually said, yes, of course you can do all of this by yourself. You don't really need me. That's the best type of osteopath to send you off in a way. And so I started, basically, I turned my practice upside down. I was in the process of becoming a teacher, and there I was going, okay, let's just throw everything I know out and start at square zero. I'm luckily of the kind of person that thinks that's exciting. And so I embraced this whole new way of working, developing a level of awareness of my body, connecting things up and becoming whole again. And changing that story of I'm going to be in a wheelchair at the age of 40, which is so unhelpful. I'm 43 now and miles away from being in a wheelchair, and it's not the scoliosis that's ever going to put me into a wheelchair. I'm fine. I can move. I'm making this sound like I'm majorly impaired from my scoliosis. I'm not. I'm absolutely fine. I'm healthy. I'm moving. But it was important that somebody changed that story for me, and that is kind of what this way of working in the yoga did for me. And so it wasn't really a surprise that I was drawn to work more therapeutically, to seek the more therapeutic route and this way in through the body. And I very quickly started to train in Thai massage, and that turned into osteo-Thai, a combination of osteopathy and Thai massage. And in a way, it actually almost took me a little bit away from the yoga because I was focusing so much of my training into that, and my passion was growing into that. And I started to become a facilitator and trainer of Thai massage. So I train practitioners. But at the same time now, I'm really finding how, because that work as a therapist and as a body worker was bringing me to work a lot more with the trauma side of things, shock and trauma, and more serious chronic conditions and chronic pain and so on. And at some point, I realized how that was actually coloring my yoga practice. So it was coming back round to the yoga. And so I wouldn't say that my yoga approach is kind of purist, Scaravelli inspired, which doesn't actually really exist anyway. But it's very strongly colored from actually some principles of Chinese medicine as well, just through the study of the body work. But really a lot of the osteopathic principles and the understanding of chronic conditions and trauma, etc. And bringing some of the things that I do, again, like what the osteopath was doing for me, what I try to facilitate in somebody's body through my touch and my hands, how can I create that in my own practice so I don't need that? Not that I want to talk anyone out not having treatments with me, but in a way I do. I'd much rather actually people go away and be just as empowered as I felt at the time. So I kind of also like how this is coming around full circle. So that's, I guess, what I'm bringing to this training. It's this kind of, I'm coming in through the body. I'll be, unfortunately online, that's not really possible to share Thai massage, but I'll be sharing a couple of yoga modules. And yeah, I don't know, like what, if I'm, Kirsten, you know me, if there's anything else that would be really good to know for everybody else, I don't know. So thank you so much for having us here. I said this, well, last night, your morning, I don't know, how wonderful I find this has sort of come about. Kirsten, I know for some years now, as she spends time in Lisbon, where I live on a regular basis, and it's just grown so organically from just talking to maybe work at some point to meeting, talking some more, nothing really happening. But then suddenly something came about and we started to work together, collaborate, became friends. And we just love talking about our work and this stuff forever. So it's amazing to have you in my life. And Amanda, I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. Yeah, it's so good to see you this morning again. And thank you for all of that personal journey. And I think that's one of the things that's really incredible about this training is that, we all have personal journeys as to why we want to do this work or why we do this work or what it is that this work brought to us or how it is that we're bringing this work out into the world. And yeah, you really touched upon some really beautiful aspects of exactly what we hope to bring forward in this training, which is empowerment, right? Agency, changing your story, working with chronic pain, imagery, all of those amazing things that can be so helpful. So always a pleasure, Kat. Yep, like I said yesterday, same thing. I just want to have a conversation with you now for hours and hours, but we'll do that later. So thank you so much for being here. And I will pass it on to Tiago.
Now you pick someone. Okay. So I'm obliged to say something. So hello, everybody. I am Tiago. I'm Portuguese. I'm in Portugal. So 8:26 now in the morning here. And well, first of all, as I said yesterday, thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Amanda. And especially Kirsten, because it's the person that I know better here, together with Catherine. We are good friends. For the invitation of being here. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. And I don't really like to talk about myself, but I think I have to. So just to be quick and short, I'm not coming from a dancing background. I didn't have any like specific chronic pain or body issues or something that brought me to yoga. Actually, what brought me to yoga was just, I was a little bit tired, or I can even say fed up of my life about 20 years ago or 18 years ago. So I was working in corporate communication and something like that from the corporate sector. I was about 24, 25 on that time. So 2 or 3 years ago. And I decided that I needed to do something different on my life. I didn't know what. And so I decided just to quit. I quit my job. I was earning good money on that time, but I decided that it was not the best thing, the best choice. And I did some sabbatic periods traveling around. And when I arrived in Portugal again, I decided, because there was nothing much to do, and so I decided to do a Ayurvedic training. I had somehow like an idea about Ayurveda, like the Indian medicine. So I decided to do just a small course on that time. And I fell in love. I completely fell in love with the Ayurvedic thought, with the Indian perspective, how to explain who we are and how the body as well work, and the perspective, how is the disease coming and the imbalance in our body. I completely fall in love with that. And I started to work as a Ayurvedic therapist, some advising and some body work as well with massage and other treatments. And on that, I started to practice yoga because I was doing a lot of massage, especially the massage on the floor. And so I needed something to regulate my body, let's say that, and to help me with my body. And I was always like a sport person, and I was not doing much sports on that time. And I said, well, let's try yoga because it's like a sister from Ayurveda, so let's try yoga. I was like, yoga, I don't think it's for me. I think it's very quiet, or I need something more strong. And then I realized after like 1 or 2 classes that, wow, this is impressive. Now, even not doing much on the yoga class, on the day after, I was feeling like these small muscles here and here and here. Interesting. Let's see that. And well, then I also fall in love with yoga, and especially in the first, let's say, the first period of my practice and study, much more on the physical part. So I practice a lot of Iyengar and Ashtanga and all of that. And together with that, a couple of years later, with one of my good teachers and friends now, I start to study Vedanta. So the philosophical part of yoga, more that philosophical part of yoga. And that really changed my perspective on yoga, and that really changed my perspective about, I think, about myself and about all of you also, even not knowing you. So let's say change my perspective a little bit about the environment and the nature and the world. And I think that's the thing that I work more nowadays. It's to help myself in the first side, and also from my teaching. So I do regular classes, retreats, workshops, and teacher trainings as well. It's to try to make people understand that as more they understand themselves, they will live happier. Okay, that's the main point. As much you understand about yourself, the small things, the big things, you will live, free and quiet and happy. It's the bottom line. It's happy. I think that's all we strive for and looking for, even if you don't know. We just want to be happy. I don't know. I want to be happy. Well, that's the most important thing. And I always challenge people to make that questions to themselves. What do you want in your life? So that's one of maybe the starting points in my module here in the course as well, will be that to make people question themselves about what they are looking for. Okay, and from that starting point of what are you looking for, then we have a lot of things to see and to show and to understand and everything. And from also like the Vedanta perspective and the philosophical perspective of yoga, that's the main thing. It's to understand who you are, and on the other side, who you are not. You understand? So because sometimes it's hard to know who we are, it's better to go step by step, knowing what we are not. And by understanding what we are not, that we are not also like I'm not a disease, I'm not a pain. Even if I am in pain, I'm not that pain. Even if I have a problem, I'm not that problem, And from that on, understanding that it's, for me, of course, it's easier to really live a more quiet and more happy life. So that's going to be more or less like this. So we're going to have some topics, of course, in the module that I'm going to follow. And yeah, it's wonderful to be here again. Thank you again, Amanda. We didn't met, but hopefully one day. And Kirsten, hope to see you in Portugal again. And to all of you, thank you. And I'm also open to any questions that you have and everything. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tiago. Thank you for being here this morning. And yeah, again, just all these amazing conversations that spring forth from the topics that you're already starting to bring forward. And I'm so looking forward to learning from each of you, Katrin, Tiago, Sasha. I feel like we talked about it last night, my heart is full because I'm just excited to be also a learner in this this particular training, as well as a facilitator. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, I hope to be back in Portugal again soon. So, so again, if there are any questions, you can feel free to pop them into the chat or unmute yourself. You might have questions for Amanda or I concerning the entire training, or if you have specific questions for Katrin, Tiago, or Sasha, you can go ahead and ask them directly if you'd like to. And as those questions are coming forward, I can talk a little.
I'll just play those videos really quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Addie and Ria. Yeah. Because on the earlier session, we had Adam with us, we had Anita with us. So if you're curious about those two facilitators, they're on the earlier session. But we also have a video from both Ria and Addie, who are also facilitators. So I'm just going to bear with me with screen sharing. It's always, we'll see. Is it?
Mabuhay mga kaibigan, kamusta? I said hello friends, and how are you? Sending you warm greetings from the Philippines. My name is Ria, my pronouns are she and her. I am beyond grateful to be joining you along with Kay and Amanda in this 300-hour training journey. I'm looking forward to sharing with you about inclusive and accessible movement and mindfulness practices, especially for bigger bodies, for differently shaped bodies, for differently abled folks. As a trauma-informed and mental health aware facilitator, I place a lot of emphasis in the importance of co-creating safer spaces for all. And that can be done by first checking in with our personal privilege. Second, we can do this by listening and becoming aware of marginalized voices. And lastly, by honoring one's lived experience. I am looking forward to exploring more of this with you really soon. If you're curious about the work that I do or would like to get to know me a little bit better, please feel free to reach out via Instagram at biggerbodyyoga.ph or via my website, that's riaterrazanawellness.com. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, stay safe, be well. Salamat. Thank you.
It just makes me so happy. Oh, it's just so good. And I will pop her website into the chat along with everyone else's info. And I'll just show you Addie's video as well. Maybe, do we see a different face?
Hi, everyone. My name is Addie D. Hilster, and I'm popping in here to introduce myself and say hello to you. I am really honored to be part of this trauma-informed movement facilitator training and to be one of the presenters. I live in the US in Washington State, Southern Washington, so I'm on a bit of a different time zone than most of you are, I think. But it's really great to be part of this program. I'm a yoga therapist, and I have been teaching yoga for about 12 years or so and practicing for much longer. I also specialize in yin yoga and making yin yoga accessible. And I also am a mindfulness meditation teacher and a longtime practitioner of Buddhist mindfulness meditation. So I would say that for me, the practice over the years has been one of the main ways that I try to make sense of the world and make sense of my life. And I love to offer that to other people. And it's also a way to take care of myself, body, heart, and mind on all these different levels. So I think it's really wonderful that you're training to be able to extend this kind of toolkit and practice to others as well. I'll be presenting on topics around accessibility, especially for people who live with pain, and also making meditation practices more trauma informed. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with you, and thank you for being here.
Just yay, just so much goodness. So let me pop in that information into the chat so that we have it. And Sasha, you might just want to make sure that I've put yours in correctly. Just maybe double check that. And then I got Kay. Yeah, that's all there. So now, as if people have had questions come up that you want to share either with your voice or in the chat box, if nothing's come up just yet, Kay can give you a little bit more insight into what this all is before I interrupted you, if that was what you were going to say.
No, that was so, thank you. I was like, wait, I thought yes, thank you so much. my morning. Haven't had all of my tea yet. But yes, so this particular training, just a little overview. I know a lot of you who are already registered might already know this information, but it's always nice to hear it again. So we have 3 modules. The first module is accessible yoga. The second module will be embodied practices. And the third module is trauma-informed yoga beyond foundation. So while this training tends to be or seems to be a little bit yoga heavy, we really are talking about how can we bring the trauma-informed lens and trauma-informed practices across the gamut of field work, across whatever modality it is that you in particular are interested in using, or whatever populations it is that you are working with currently, whatever groups of people or personally or individuals that it is that you really hope to offer this to. So we're really talking across a pretty wide umbrella of embodied practices here within this training. And I think that's one of the things that makes this training really special, is that while I am an advocate of learning a modality and maybe really honing in with those skills, some modalities don't work for everybody. And like Amanda said, it's not a one size fit all. And so we're really hoping to bring forward how it is that we can, and I can speak from personal experience with the work that I do in the communities that I serve, because I'm usually an outsider coming in since I do work all over the world. And I definitely don't know what people need. That's not my job. My job is to be a somatic witness and to then be a person who might be able to bring in other modalities if what it is that they have available to them is not serving them. And so, and also to honor what it is that is serving them and to figure out how we can build upon that in order to nurture resilience and bring in more empowerment. So we're really talking about if something doesn't work, finding something that does, at least in the present moment, right? Because there's no expectation that any of these modalities are always going to work forever. And so really trying to figure out how we can be vessels of creative solutions, because I've been in situations where I've said, oh, perfect, invitational language. Yep, this is supposed to work. No problem. Nope. Had to throw that one out the window and then try something different. And so this is one of the reasons that we're really bringing in so many voices and so many wonderful, wonderful professionals and practitioners here for you in this training, is because we hope that you'll be able to glean and grab onto possibly 1, 2, 10 different ways of working with the body, that then you can always have those in your toolkit and you have more to offer yourself. You have more to offer the communities that you serve as a person who's walking along in their journey. So hopefully that makes sense, but that's really what we're hoping to bring in here today. And Amanda, do you have more to add to that?
I think you summed it up so beautifully, because I think that's exactly it. I think within all of this, what we're really looking to do is, how is it that we embody these practices? How is it that we look to these trainings or these modalities, these tools, and turn it into wisdom, so that when you are in these situations or you are working with different people, you're not just trying to pull through like a textbook and be like, okay, flip to page 5. How do I deal with this thing? It's actually somatically and viscerally available to you because you live and breathe it. It's something that transcends knowledge and intellect and shows up in every way that you interact. I mean, when I started doing this work, it shifted the way that I interact with family, friends, colleagues, not just the people that I'm specifically working with, or if I'm with certain populations. It's really going beyond that. And I think that's why I love, love, love having so many different people from so many different perspectives and lived experiences, because we don't know everything. We can't, I know 1% of things. And that's really what we're bringing to the table. So when we can amplify and elevate other voices and lived experiences, that's the magic. And that's what I'm so excited to learn as well. Like, we're learning right alongside with you. We're very much in this work. So yay. Who has questions or any other insights?
And I'll say, sorry, I'm going to say, speaking of learning, Katrin is offering a lovely free practice for everyone coming up. Well, depending on what day it is for you, it will be the wherever you are in the world. And please bear with us. We are working along, all of the time zones, it feels like. So it will be on the 26th or the 27th, depending on where you are. And it is a free practice that she's offering. It will be online, and the registration is in the chat. So if you're interested or you haven't registered yet to have this lovely class with Katrin, I will be there. I'm so excited to be able to be helping her via the Zoom world, but I'm also going to be practicing alongside of you. So I'm really looking forward to it, which will be my evening tomorrow. So I think it's the morning in New Zealand on the 27th. And then you can figure out the rest from there. So don't forget about that. The registration link is in the chat. So please register. You can it will give you a good example of some of the practices that you might be experiencing in this training. We will be practicing every week via either live or video, and that will be part of your training, is to experience these practices in your own body with our lovely facilitators that are going to be offering these to you, and including Amanda and myself. So just something to think about if you want to join in. Now questions or comments. And I can keep talking as people know.
No, like, don't be shy.
We'll just keep chatting. Or any other. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you for mentioning the free class. I did it again. I forgot to mention it last night. So if I can maybe say a little bit more about the class. It's called Moving from Sensory Input. So it's kind of speaking to the fact that we're all suffering from some kind of dissociation to our bodies, and that doesn't necessarily always require massive trauma in our lives. It actually just comes from our modern lifestyle. So it's there in all of us. We wear shoes, we walk on concrete, we sit on chairs, we don't climb trees anymore. We live in a very fast-paced environment, none of which our bodies are really innately designed for. And that leads to a loss of intelligence and numbing of kind of our innate capacities. And in a way that kind of leads to a body and to movement being quite poorly mapped on the brain. We're literally just not computing to the full range of movement that we actually have in our body innately, just because we don't need it anymore on a day-to-day basis. Plus, we've created a whole bunch of patterns and holdings in the body through the concrete world and everything else. Plus, all of the other stories and bigger stories that we've experienced through our lifetime. And yoga and many other body-mind practices has this wonderful potential to really nurture and foster interoception and proprioception and re-establishing some of those connections to sensing movement for what it really is, to be able to really discern and discriminate sensation in a way. So is this actually painful, or is this just pressure? Is this discomfort? Is this okay? What actually is it? Because through all of these patterns, as well as a bad mapping of our body, we often actually misinterpret, not on purpose, but we misinterpret sensation. And so we even lose learning from sensation. Like when we were a baby, and then growing up, that's how we learned. Like, got a spoon of something gooey, and it's like, no, that was not my mouth. No, that was not my mouth. And eventually you'll sort of find it. And that's coming through sensation. And we've lost that ability entirely. So yoga has a wonderful way of bringing that back to say, okay, this is what this feels like. This is pressure, this is pain. I can move without effort, maybe, understanding where the ground is, understanding our relationship to space, and so on. So we'll explore that a little bit in tomorrow's class. Do a quick introduction. Kind of already said it all now, but do a little introduction, and really get on the mat. And assuming that, it's mostly people who are interested in facilitating, I add sort of notes on, well, this is why we're doing it, or how you might be facilitating this. So it would be a little bit different to how I might teach a class to the general public, bearing in mind too who's joining the class. So yeah, it'd be lovely to see as many of you there tomorrow. So anyone in my time zone, which is kind of London, Lisbon time, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. But I don't know where everybody is. So yeah, maybe see you there.
Hi, Kim here. Not a facilitator. I'll say that quickly. Just want a couple of questions. Catherine, is your session going to be recorded?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be recorded, and then we'll make sure that it gets to all of those of you who are already signed up for the training. That will be sent to you. There'll be a link that's sent to you directly. And then for those people who are not signed up yet, it will go onto the YouTube channel. That will make sure that there'll be a follow-up to this this meeting, and that YouTube channel will be sent to you. The link will be sent. So you'll have it in two places if you're already signed up. If you're not, it's okay. You can watch it on YouTube. Yeah, great question. Thanks, Kim. Yeah.
And then the other question, which is really just an admin question, so I'm not really sure if it should be asked here, but I read we need to do so many lives, and they're at 7 in the morning and 7 at night, or 7:30. And my understanding initially was you had to attend both those, but is it that you just need to attend either in the morning or the evening?
Yes, good question, Kim. Yeah, so since we are working across so many time zones, right now, Amanda and I have decided to be able to offer, so there are 4 slots of, yes, sorry, I had to think about it. There's 4 slots of lectures, so 4. Yeah, so there's 4 slots of lecture. And basically you need to attend 2 of those slots per week, making sure that it's either on, depending on your time zone, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. And so, and again, but it'll be the same lectures on Mondays and Tuesdays, or like it's a little confusing, but yes, you only have to attend 2 of the 2-hour lectures. Yeah, you don't have to attend all 4 of them. And I can tell you more about it if you need to know more. But we also understand, as while there is an 80% live attendance rate that we're kind of hoping for each person, we also will talk to you about that a little bit more in detail once you sign up and all those things. But if you are signed up right now, we also understand that life happens, and we will be working with you if things start to come up between October and May of 2022, which they probably will, which is how long the training is for the 300 hours. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, good question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other questions? And for those of you that were not on the first session, there were also some really wonderful questions, not only about the training in general, but also about the content. And so you can go back and watch that recording if you like. Those will go up on YouTube today, this one as well as the first session. So you can always come back and review this session as well with our lovely facilitators. And what else? What else am I forgetting?
I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Because I know all of the practices that are to come as well. And I think it just dawned on me that we actually get to do all the practices as well, because they'll all be live and recorded. So I'm like, we get to do the practices. Like, yes, we get to learn with all of you, but we also get to do the practices because we're not facilitating those ones. It just gets better and better, folks. I can't wait. Super, super excited. Any other questions for the facilitators, or any other clarifications that anyone wants on literally anything at all?
Yeah, I have one question. It's just out of curiosity because I'm quite impatient about everything.
Yes.
So will we know exactly what kind of modality the facilitators are going to bring in the training? So it's just me being impatient and curious about everything.
Yeah. Thanks, Juliet. So good to see you here. Really good question. So we will be putting, as you know, the curriculum is still coming together. We obviously know what we want to do, but we're working with 12 schedules of facilitators and 12, and multiple time zones. So we're still really trying to make sure that everything is going to work logistically online. And so as soon as we have that schedule up, we will be offering that information. Yep. And so we're kind of drip feeding it out. But yes, so as soon as we confirm everything that's going on curriculum wise, and especially if you sign up, you will have that schedule and you'll be able to see, okay, within accessible yoga, we're working with Ria today or this week, and this is what we're going to be focusing on. And then in module 2, embodied practices, we're going to be working with Katrin, we're going to be working with fascia and memory. So you'll really be able to see, and it will be parceled out. Does that answer your question, Juliet?
Yeah, perfect. And actually,
okay,
I do have a second one. So I'm waiting a bit for the sign up because I have to see with my upcoming schedule how everything will fit in. But is there some flexibility in, let's say we choose a time slot, but then for some whatever reason, it would be better for us for one session to be attending the other one? Would it be possible to be switching?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. We will offer you both of the time slots at any time you want to join. So just making sure that you're getting the 2 lectures per week that are the different lectures. And yes, you can join if one day or one week you have to join the 7 p.m. and then the next day you have to, then the next week you have to join the 7 a.m. That's fine. We don't have any problem. The content will be the same. It might be that because some of our facilitators, for example, are in the US, and it'll be 2 o'clock in their morning. Part of it might be recorded, but you'll get the same information in all of those lectures. So yes, you can transfer in anytime. Yeah, great question.
Okay, amazing. And no more questions, but just wanted to thank everyone for taking the time. Well, Kay and Amanda for organizing this, and everyone for sharing with us your amazing stories. So can't wait to get to know you all a bit more. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Juliet.
Thank you.
Other questions? And again,
I've got one last question, Kurakato. What would really help me is, particularly between now and when the first segment officially starts, is just getting as much notice as possible for any of the sessions like this. Sadly, I am still tied down to my proper job. Thiago, like you, sadly I'm still in corporate communications, but just so I can plan my schedule between work, home life, and the yoga that I'm currently teaching. Even if we could get an idea, fortnight by fortnight, what sessions might be coming up, that would definitely help me plan my schedule.
Yeah. Do you mean sessions like these launch events? Like the
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yep, no problem. We will make sure that this information gets to you in a timely manner in the next, what are we in August? Yeah, so the rest of the 2 months before our training begins, and you will have your schedule for the training as well coming up really soon, so that you'll be able to really look at, the rest of your year, and then also the beginning of next year, and again, try and figure out how this will fit into your life. Yeah, because we want to make sure that that's available and happening. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Kapai, thank you.
Yeah. Other comments or questions before we wrap things up? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here again. It was so wonderful to meet you, Sarsha, and I'm so looking forward to learning from you. Thiago and Katrin, thank you for being here again in your early morning after a late night last night. So I really appreciate it, and so wonderful to see you, all of you that are signed up already, and those of you that are looking to sign up. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and answering any questions that you might have beyond this event. So if you find that you have questions, you can email myself or Amanda. You can reach out to us on Facebook or on Instagram. And also feel free, like I said, to connect with the facilitators on their Instagram accounts or whatever it is that they gave you. You'll get a follow-up email from this session with all of that information. So if you're like me that can't track the chat, it's okay. We'll go ahead and send all that information out to you probably later on today. So look for that in your inbox. And also if you want to go back and look at these recordings, and if you feel like you missed something, they will go up on the YouTube, and that also it'll go up on Amanda's YouTube as well. So those links will be given to you in that email. So look for that. And yeah, what else? Anything else, Amanda?
I think that's perfect. Okay. So good. I'm going to have the best sleep. Heart is so full. Thank you all so much.
Yes. Thank you. And we look forward.
Enjoy the rest of your days, your nights, your wherever and whatever is happening next. And thank you all.
Bye.